how can I help you?
This is Mika.
Okay, what's up?
I need you to take Donald Trump off of Twitter now.
For what? What did he do?
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you,
Do
but
you have any idea who I am or what I'm capable of?
No, I have no
want you
idea.
to take Donald Trump off Twitter now.
For what though? You need to be more specific.
Do you know who I am?
No, I've never heard of
Mika.
Who? I've never heard of you.
Tell you again. You take Donald Trump off of Twitter.
I know. I'm trying to find.
I'm gonna bring hell with me.
Okay,
I'm gonna use my privilege card right now.
I know, but for what?
Me?
What?
You take Donald Trump off Twitter right now.
For
Do you
what?
understand me?
Hey,
you
settle
take
down.
Donald Trump off Twitter right
Settle
now.
down.
Do you understand me?
Hey, settle down. Take a deep breath. Hey.
Hey, Karen, here's my new book, free of charge.
That is so funny.
That's a great one.
That was a good one. So thank you for joining us here in the Bill Mason Show.
Yeah, welcome to the Thursday edition.
Yes, and see Lenny's in the background working.
As always,
Hey,
there he is.
He's
Same
always
monitor.
Always in the same spot.
Yep, you can always count on him.
All right, so we have a great show for you tonight. We have President Trump talking in Michigan. We have a lot of great videos, and we have a weird video about vaccines. So we're going to talk about that in the show. So Bill, what's going on today? Anything special going on today?
It's the same thing if you watch MSNBC and CNN. So I don't purposely watch those channels. So I'm flipping through, and what you see is they're trying like heck to squash the Obamagate thing. And they're trying to say, what's this new Obamagate conspiracy theory? And they have all these different people from all walks of Democratic life, people that are former directors of something and something other. And they say, yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. He's crazy. He's trying to deflect from the fact that the coronavirus is everywhere. And he failed at that. And he's trying to distract the American public with this Obamagate thing. Meanwhile, he's been talking about it for 3 years, and it's finally coming to fruition. And I'm really like, oh man, I'm like sitting on my hands like a kid waiting for Christmas to get the Bull Durham report, man, because I'm really putting a lot of my eggs in that basket.
Yep, I agree. I can't wait till that comes out.
Yeah.
So we do have some about government trust. A very good video about what happened back in when this whole thing started. The Republicans were actually in charge back then. But,
yeah, we had the House, we had the Senate,
right.
and it was when they were really trying to spin this. Well, you can't trust Trump; he's an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
So the Republicans really didn't want to, get in line. They were afraid of getting burned. I think they actually believed in some of the Russian hoax stuff.
Right.
So they really didn't support the president, and they tried to throw him under the bus. And now all of a sudden they're tooting his horn, man. So
well, there's a bunch of never Trumpers in that crowd. So
yeah,
let's take a look at that video, okay?
Yeah.
Do you know anybody who trusts the government anymore? There's a reason for that. And by the way, it's not just Democrats you should blame. The vast majority of the Russian collusion investigation occurred during the first 2 years of this administration. Who ran the government then? At the time, Republicans controlled both houses of Congress and every single committee by definition. They had the power to expose this hoax and to shut it down, but they did not. It's Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and Richard Burr and so many of the other useless Senate Republicans. Total phonies. They didn't really do anything.
Richard Burr, he is calling Don Trump Jr. back.
Senator Burr, who's well respected, he doesn't want to be lied to. He wants to get to the bottom of what happened.
Republican Senator Richard Burr had served the president's son with a subpoena. Can you explain why the Republican would want to do that?
Gowdy disputes Trump's spy claim.
No, I think Gowdy's appearance was disgraceful. According to Gowdy, the FBI ran it by the book, how the Americans would have wanted them to run the investigation. Really? Give me a break.
You said, I am even more convinced that the FBI did exactly what Americans would want them to do.
There was no spy. Have you seen any evidence of that?
I have not. That would think you would want the FBI to find out whether or not there was any validity to what those people were saying. The FBI did exactly what my fellow citizens would want them to do.
He says the FBI did exactly what we should want them to do.
The number one question I get asked from Americans is
why no one has gone to jail and been held accountable.
It was Paul Ryan and Trey Gowdy that wouldn't give us that subpoena power. We didn't send out a single subpoena, not one.
I supported the Mueller investigation because I didn't know.
Senator, we're talking about a shredding of constitutional law due process that we would ever have.
You say that Mueller is a good guy, right?
That's been my experience, yes.
And you'll do anything necessary to protect him from being interfered with?
Absolutely.
Well, and it's all Bennett. Where's Director Ray, though? I've got a lot of people yelling at me tonight. He's not doing his job.
And you'll do anything necessary to protect him?
Absolutely.
Somebody that every American should trust. Mr. Mueller.
Bob Mueller was an excellent appointment. He will go wherever the facts lead him. He will have great credibility.
People want you to move on this, Senator. Are you going to do it?
Yeah, but I've told you, and I'll tell you again.
Total phonies who tell you they're representing you, but don't. Explain why they didn't really do anything to stop the derailment of America while it was in progress.
Wow.
Boom.
Boom. Of course, some of those people are on board of Trump now, but they weren't on board back then.
No, they were all scared to get on the Trump train, and they were believing what the Democrats were selling, that, oh, Trump could be in with Russia. Like, you don't want to be on his side because you don't want to get caught with your pants down. And, you know, they were trying to play both sides, like the politicians that they are, which, you know, paid to lie, paid to spin. But you know what was weird? The one thing I noticed, The View, right? So The View was like, Richard Burr this and Richard Burr that. They just had a show a week ago where they're tearing that guy apart for selling his stocks when he got the news of the coronavirus and stuff like that.
Right.
So like they flip-flop back and forth so much. And I can't even believe there's any loyalty among them. Like, you know the saying, there's no loyalty among thieves. And I mean,
there's no loyalty.
There's no loyalty there at all.
No. All right. Well, I mean, as you know, it's now being brought out. It's a soft coup. All hoax, all made up stuff. Spying on the Trump campaign. So let's listen to Chuck Schumer back then, back in 2016.
Oh yeah.
In the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were
I don't know.
There's all the villains there, piled up, one by one.
One by one, and what has come to light is, you know, they always talk about the who, what, where, when, why, and how. So we have the who, you know, we have the Comey, McCabe, we have Brennan, we have Strzok and Page, and we have Susan Rice, and we have, you know, even Loretta Lynch. We have the who, even to Joe Biden. Okay, we have the what. And that was the coup attempt. We have the where, and what I think we don't have is the why. And I think when the why comes out, like, why did they fight so hard just to stop him? What was it about Trump that could blow up everything they had?
It's globalism. It's blowing up globalism. That's why.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have kind of did it another way. This is the way. It's going to get them thrown in jail. And I mean, if it doesn't, it's going to be really bad for this country, because I know a lot of people personally that are saying, like we said the past couple episodes, like, okay, now that you've showed us, somebody's got to go down. You can't let these guys skate.
Somebody has to go to jail. I mean, it's all about Americanism versus globalism. So that's the bottom line. That's the reason why it all happened. So we do have Susan Rice lying to us on TV.
Bold-faced liar.
This is way back when, so let's take a look and see what she said.
Okay.
During the transition after President Trump had been elected, that he and the people around him may have been caught up in surveillance of foreign individuals and that their identities may have been disclosed. Do you know anything about this?
I know nothing about this.
She knows nothing about this. And it has came out that she knows everything about it.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, the thing that I think they were fighting hardest for was to constantly keep Trump on the defense. So all of these 302s and all of the records and stuff like that wouldn't come out. And, you know, there's somebody, I just want to say real quick, Tom Fitton, he runs what's called Judicial Watch. He has done so much of the heavy lifting on the FOIA stuff and getting it released and doing all the paperwork and, you know, actually spending the money. I mean, you know, Judicial Watch, you know, I don't know if they're officially nonprofit or whatever, but I know that, you know, he takes donations and stuff, and I've given him donations more than a few times because he really keeps the pressure on them to, if those documents didn't get released through his FOIA applications, there's a lot of stuff that people like you and me would never get a chance to know.
That's true. And a lot of this stuff is hush-hush. I mean, if the Democrat won the office, we would have never known all this.
Oh, they would have buried this so deep. You wouldn't have found it in 50 years.
Oh, no, never. They would have shredded documents and hit cell phones with hammers. Oh, did somebody do that?
Yeah, I think that's been done before.
All right.
But the fact that they're still playing this role, the one thing that could get them all in really hot water is Flynn's initial 302, the initial, the one where they said, "No, you don't need a lawyer. We're just going to come over and talk to you." That 302 is missing, and that's the linchpin where they said he lied in the interview. Well, then where's the 302? Let's see the lie. Right. It's gone. Come on.
All right, so we're going to listen to Trump now. I mean, Trump today was at Michigan. He talked about American first, and that's the reason why they don't want him in office. Let's take a look.
Okay.
That's why in my administration we live by two simple rules: buy American and hire American. And we have another rule that you may have heard on occasion. It's called America First. We didn't have America first. We had America last under previous presidents. They were more concerned with the world than they were concerned with their own country. My first week in office, I withdrew from the job-wrecking Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have destroyed the auto industry. I don't know. I never asked you about that, Bill. I mean, I think you agree. Oh, you do? Would you please stand up and just nod that you agree? That's your industry, Bill, would have been destroyed had that deal gone through. And not only yours, by the way, but other countries would have been very happy. So I don't know. I don't know how the hell these unions aren't endorsing Trump instead of the standard Democrat. A Democrat that doesn't even know where he is.
He's talking about Biden, right?
Oh, without it, you know, the craziest thing, I can speak from experience. I'm in a union, okay? And they do, like, begrudgingly tell you, like, when these elections are coming, like, well, you know, the Democrats really have our back, guys. So, you know, when it comes time to consider all those things, you know, kind of the lever to pull, right? And most of us, we look at each other and go, "Are you kidding me?
No way. No."
And like I said, we're all truck drivers and stuff, and we're like, I know where my bread's buttered. I don't know what you're talking about. 'Cause, those guys don't give a rat's, you know, patootie about us at the end of the story. So, yeah, they do encourage, those unions encourage you to vote Democrat, and we've always fought that, like, our union dues, like, they give money to Democrats with our dues, and we're like, no, please stop that stuff, man. That's for years we've been talking about it, but they always donate to the Democrat Party, the DNC, and like all this other, you know, it just seems to go hand in hand. It's like a backroom deal that happened a long time ago.
Oh yeah, it did happen, and it's been going on for a while.
Yeah. But anyway, with Trump in Michigan, this is one more thing real quick before we move on. Trump in Michigan, he also went into the flooded zone that recently happened. They had a dam that broke in Michigan, had the Army Corps of Engineers there on helicopters that night, landing in to assess the dam, the damage, and stuff like that. Even though that governor has been nothing but a piece of crap to President Trump, he came in and went over Michigan with a fine-tooth comb and said, what do they need? And I want to get it in here as soon as possible. So those voters witnessed that,
Oh, that's good. I mean, I saw the 2 dams that broke, right?
Yeah. Flooded an entire town.
Right.
And, it's pretty bad because they were under an extreme lockdown order. And now that governor is looking kind of like crappy because there's no place to put those people other than huddling them together in like a YMCA or like something like that. And it's like, oh wait, I thought we can't be together,
Yeah, right.
So she's eating her words now.
Right. Well, so we'll see what happens with that. So as far as in the world news today, of course, we have Iranian tankers still heading to Venezuela.
Yeah, we talked about that last show. Like, if anybody missed it, that they were going to send some tankers all the way from Iran, and kind of like, to me, it's like testing the United States, because there's a carrier group in the Caribbean, there's some destroyers in the Caribbean, and Venezuela. I mean, they're basically like going to see what happens, I guess.
Right. So let's take a look at this video here.
Okay.
Of the Iranian regime taking the wealth of the Iranian people and wasting it in Venezuela on Maduro.
The US is one of more than 60 countries trying to push Nicolas Maduro from power, recognizing opposition leader Juan Guaido as president. A force of US vessels, including Navy destroyers, patrol the Caribbean on what US officials say is an anti-drug mission. Venezuela sees the vessels as a threat and is sending its own military to escort the Iranian tankers through its territory.
In case this threat is materialized, it would constitute an actual armed aggression against a civilian Iranian vessel and against the Venezuelan people as a whole.
But analysts say a conflict is unlikely.
Nobody in Washington wants a war or any sort of conflict with Iran over Venezuela in the current circumstances. So although the U.S. Commander-in-Chief of the Southern Command has expressed concern over this, and Washington is clearly watching it closely, I think in the current circumstances that's probably going to be the extent of it.
Venezuela and Iran say the trade is a win-win for both countries.
There we have it. So there were talk in Trump circles that they were going to stop the Iranian tankers, but we don't know if that's going to happen or not.
I honestly, like we talked about last show, I don't want to see a naval conflict over. It's almost like they're poking the bear, with this episode. Kind of like when Kim Jong would fire rockets over the South China Sea when our carrier was within a few hundred miles. It's kind of like a test to see how tough we are.
Well, the naval conflict won't last very long. I mean,
no, it wouldn't, but it would be.
Right.
See, I look at it this way, like every time we saw it with Iran. So when Iran provoked us and Trump literally took drones that were shot down. He literally took like our Navy, being harassed and all that stuff, the missiles. Then when they put the Iranian guys in Iraq and they started messing with the embassy, he was like, all right, I'll handle this. GPS location, beep, Soleimani. Okay. So like, he handled that very strategically with a surgical knife, and everybody wanted to throw him under the bus. I mean, oh my God, that's Iran's #2 man. We're going to get in a nuclear war now. We're screwed. And then, boom, nothing happened. And then we had a show on the night of they were retaliating, and we had bombers in the air that could have destroyed them. Right. And Trump showed that he's not really this trigger-happy loon that they try to make him out to be, because he just let the missiles miss. Right. They hit some things, and no one was killed. I don't believe so, but I mean, that could have been under anybody else's reign provocation enough to like send in the bombers,
right.
you know, and he didn't.
Right. No, he didn't. He was restrained, so that was
Yeah.
good.
Right.
We would have been in some kind of war right now if that was
Right.
the case.
I look at it like he avoided war several times already. That any other president, if they really wanted to, would have had enough wiggle room to justify a conflict.
If it was Obama or Bush or anybody like that, they would have been at war a long time ago.
Exactly. Right. And like it just makes me mad when people say like, oh, I don't trust him with the decision-making powers of the military, and I don't trust him with the nuclear football. Right. He hasn't gone batshit crazy, and he's kept us out of a lot of conflicts. Right. And he's like I said, like a surgical strike, and it worked, and it scared the daylights out of most of those little regimes because they were like, wow, that was impressive.
Right.
So
I agree. So I mean, so anyway, so we'll see what happens in with the Venezuela Iran situation. We have things around the world that's going on.
Yeah, we try to keep an eye on everything and keep our peeps updated.
Right, and we show you all the latest and greatest videos, and we talk about it. And so let's move on to the virus news. Let's take a look at the virus map. It'll come up in a second here. Here's the virus map. It's a cool map, by the way.
Yeah, man.
Look at those clusters. Yeah, look at those clusters. Look at that northeast.
Yeah, I see it. New England, the corridor. I'm right underneath that orange blotch. I am in there, and I'm out in it. Every day I'm in Pennsylvania. There I am.
Yeah.
And and I work in New Jersey. So I am like in the peak zones of this coronavirus. I go into all the hot spots every day, and watching these guys handle their states with these draconian rules, that I understand that there are some businesses that may or may not be able to open fully for a long time, but there are guys that are roofers and landscapers, and they can get back to work. Let's get over ourselves right now.
Right.
They don't want to give up the power. And like for example, Tom Wolfe in Pennsylvania, the numbers are coming down, not drastically, but a little bit, and he still doesn't want to admit that he gave the green light to companies that kind of like contributed to him. Like there's a kitchen cabinet company that I think his brother's affiliated with. He gave them a pass, and every other small business that does like bathroom remodeling and stuff like that, they're not allowed to do business. So I mean, these Democratic governors of these states, man, they love having the yes or no power, and they're not going to give it up. And you can see that they like the fact that these death tolls are high. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, maybe they don't, but I mean, they've done nothing but encourage the spread as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, United States today, I mean, they had 1,300 so far. That's not the final total for today, but that's what it is so far.
But I think, weren't we at like 15 and change last show?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going down. So that's
right. But like you said, look at the serious critical. So the deaths may be going down, but now we're almost at 18,000 on the serious critical side.
Right.
Yeah. And we're well over 13 million tests.
Yep. Yeah. So they can't complain about tests. We're by far the most tested country in the world.
Well, like I said, we're the leader, and we have testing sites that are near me that you barely see a car in there. Maybe one or two cars and a whole squad of people manning the thing, and it's always empty.
Yeah. So, all right. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, we do have a video though of. Kind of weird. Everybody's saying it was Bill Gates. We know it's not Bill Gates now. We did an enhanced video. Thank you to Lenny back there.
Yeah, Lenny cleared it up.
Yeah.
Enhanced the sound a little bit, bumped it up. Right. And you'll find a lot of stuff about this video on the internet in general. And the reason it says debunked is because the original person said this is Bill Gates that is giving this presentation. Now, we can clearly see it's not, but is that really the important part? I mean, if we watch the video, it's still a little disturbing.
It is disturbing. I mean, there's nothing that, no death going on. They're just talking about a virus that they're going to release.
Right.
It's a CIA headquarters.
Right.
Some people are saying this isn't actors. Some people say it's correctly, it's it's true.
Yeah.
But we just don't know. I mean, we don't know where it came from.
We're in the age of disinformation, so you can only believe half of what you see, but let's show people anyway.
Yeah, well, let's take a look. So let's hear what they say.
Okay.
We're going to eliminate individuals from donning on a bomb vest and going into a market and blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the VMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. So we have some very, very remarkable data in this next slide. Here we have two brain scans. These are fMRIs. These are two different individuals with different levels of expression of VMAT2. On top is an individual who's a religious fanatic, an individual, and we've repeated this numerous times, that has high levels of VMAT2. Now, this individual down here who had low levels of the VMAT2 gene, this individual would self-describe as not particularly religious. In each case, these individuals were read a religious text. This individual lit up the right middle frontal gyrus, shown here, and that's a part of the brain that's associated with theory of mind. It's a part of the brain that has to do with intents and beliefs and desires. In marked contrast, here's an individual who would not particularly self-describe as religious, and when they're read a religious text, what you see is that this part of the brain called the anterior insula lights up. This is a part of the brain that's associated with disgust or displeasure on hearing something.
So you're suggesting I take a CT scan with me when I'm evaluating people to determine whether I put a bullet in their head?
So the data that I'm presenting here supports the concept that we're proposing, and I think that we would not propose to do CT scans or fMRIs on individuals out in the hinterlands of Afghanistan. The virus would immunize against this VMAT2 gene, and that would have the effect that you see here, which is it's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects in the Middle East.
How would you suggest that this is going to be dispersed, the aerosol?
Well, so the present plan and the tests that we've done so far have used respiratory viruses, such as flu or rhinoviruses, and we believe that that's a satisfactory way to get the exposure of the largest part of the population. Most of us, of course, have been exposed to both of those viruses, and we're quite confident that this will be a very successful approach.
This is fascinating. What's the name of this proposal?
Yeah, so the name of this project is FunVax, which is the vaccine for religious fundamentalism.
And you have a proposal already?
The proposal has just been submitted, and I think that the data that I have shown you today would support the development of this project, and we think it has great promise.
Look at that. So, I mean, it doesn't look like it's actors. I mean, that would be a better quality film, right? Wouldn't it be?
It went through my head like a lightning bolt. So then I started going down the rabbit hole like I do, like trying to. So my theory is that if you want to prove something right, prove it wrong. Okay, put as much effort into proving it wrong as you do to prove it right. And what happens is you start finding out that there is research on that, VMAT2. So the VMAT2 genes, they started doing research on that in the 90s, and they found out that it's a protein in your DNA that basically wires your brain to be a spiritual person, someone who who finds like enlightenment as like a goal, and it connects to this thing called the habenula, and it goes right into your pineal gland, and it's genetic. And if you don't have it, they say you're prone to be more atheistic, less caring, stuff like that. And it's something that they've been working with, and like they're working with ways to turn it up and to turn it off. And
this video was made in 2005.
Yeah.
And so it was released in 2011, whoever released it.
Right.
2011. It's been around for a little while.
Right. And there's research papers that you can find on this research. Like these things are real. It's not like what they're talking about is like some made up movie line. And the fact that they're talking about releasing it in a virus, in a rhinovirus or a common flu, that's the scary thing for me. I don't care that that's not Bill Gates.
Right.
For me,
it's I don't care either. It's an amazing video.
Right.
If it's true.
It doesn't matter who it is if it's true. And back in 2005, they were talking about aerosolizing viruses that could affect your brain.
Right.
That's mind-blowing.
COVID-19, I have read, of course, it affects all organs of your body. That's the only
all of them.
Yeah, including your brain.
Yep. Anywhere that has an AC2 receptor, it can affect it. And that's why you're getting negative tests that are actually positive, because when they do the swab, the nasal cannula swab and the throat swab and stuff like that, you may not have the virus in that region to pick up. It could be in your kidneys.
Right.
And then it gets into your blood. So it's like, to really know, you need a 3-level like blood test. You need nasal cannula, blood test, and then there's this other one called, I think, RTCM or something like that. That's actually the genetic protein or something in the virus that they try to look for. But these simple tests can be wrong. You can get false negatives.
Yeah, and they're wrong all the time. Plus, you get tested and you test positive the next day because of
get it on the way home from the testing center.
Right. When you drop it off to the grocery store.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, like I said, I have to operate in the orange zone. Like that's where I'm at every day. And really, there's only a few places that I'm really, really meticulous about, because I just know that hundreds and hundreds of people have touched and made contact in those areas. The food store is one of them. I wear gloves and do all the things that you would do in like a contaminated area. But as far as like my home and like all those stuff, I know that I clean it regularly. I'm not like one of those people that's worried about my door was open for 3 minutes, the virus probably came in my door. I'm not that crazy, but there are people like that. I saw a woman that was spraying her body down with Lysol before she got in her car. And it's like, it's to such a level, man. And then there's also the counter to that. So there's doctors out there, that guy that got removed from YouTube, who said you can overdo it with antiseptics. You can kill good bacteria on your body that can let you get sick in other ways while you're trying to not get coronavirus, and you're wiping yourself antiseptically clean. All right, you are more susceptible to these other things that the good bacteria was keeping you from getting. So you can definitely overdo it with antiseptics and antibacterials.
Yeah, I agree. So it looks like we're going to be at way over 100,000 by next show.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, we've talked about numbers that are a lot higher, and I think if there is a fall second wave, we might hit 250,000. I mean, it's just being honest. I know it sucks, but a second wave is usually worse than the first wave. I mean, we're seeing in China that they have complete lockdowns once again, and it's really actually hard to find that information, because at the Bill Mason show we would have gave you the video, but they got the firewall back up, and the only leaks that you get are through like people from Hong Kong WeChat or something like that, and it's just chats or tweets. It's not videos or whatever, but it's good rumor that they're under lockdown again. And I know somebody who deals personally with, they get goods and stuff from China, and it's like, here we go again, 2-week, 3-week delay. So
yeah, the firewall's been up since the middle of end of February of this year. So
yeah,
very few information, very little information coming out of them. So we're going to keep on checking out this vaccine at the CIA, this virus, respiratory virus that makes the religious people calm. So we're going to take more information. We'll show that in the next couple of weeks. We'll try to find more information for everybody.
And also, like real quick before we end the show, so that VMAT gene that's real. So there's two receptors. There's one that amplifies it and one that turns it down. If you turn that VMAT down, that receptor down, you become suicidal. Okay, so it's really like an on-off switch that I'm sure people would love to play with. It's it's not good.
No. All right. Well, I appreciate you watching the show tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. We will be on again Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And in emergencies.
Exactly. And we're going to try to show emergency broadcast maybe Wednesday. We might show a space show because they're lifting off to space in Cape Canaveral.
Yes, SpaceX with people.
With people. So first time ever.
Cool.
So thanks for joining us, and you have a great night.
See you next week.